Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily, Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text us on 8 12 15. You know those digits? Or you can follow us on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email us through the Absolute Radio website. If you don't know it, Ecosia it. That's our favourite search engine on this show. Try it. Try Ecosia. You could save the rainforest. Apparently that's good.
All right, Sting, calm down.
Yeah, then you can play table tennis with those blokes with the big bottom lip. The only people who can play table tennis with their hands in their pockets.
Have you used Ecosia this week? Since we...
I never use anything else now.
Oh, good.
I haven't found anything, but... No, it seems to work perfectly well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's saving the rainforest. Whereas Google isn't even paying for lampposts in regional areas of Britain, apparently. Okay, so... you know, this show is like... I think we're a bit of a rival for Commode and...
oh, yeah. Who's the other one he's with? Who's the one with the funny hair? Is that
Simon
Mark Commode?
Mayo.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Mayo and Commode.
Thank you.
It's a terrible combination, Mayo and Commode. I find. But I go to see films about 6 weeks after they've come out and review them on this show.
Right.
I think that's good because there's a lot of people thinking, you know, ahead for DVD presents.
Right.
And they're glad of getting their heads up.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went to see Star Trek Into Darkness this week.
Oh, I'm glad it was the recent one. I thought you meant the 1964 one. I know you're late off the mark.
And I'll tell you what I was thinking about.
That's Benedict. Oh, I love him.
Benedict, yeah.
Cucumber.
Benedict.
I love it.
Yeah, what did they call him last week? Somebody called him something like Julian...
Sebastian Cumberbatch.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I won't go into the film, but I did start... I loved it, but there are many cliches in it. It's full of cliches.
In a way you liked.
In a way I
Can I just say, other pronunciations are available?
Yeah. But the one that really struck me was... You know when you're chasing, say, a villain of some kind, or being chased, but usually chasing a villain, and he jumps onto an adjoining platform, or maybe he might jump onto a passing helicopter.
Yeah.
When you jump, do you find that you only just about make it, and you end up hanging on, and he gets a chance then to stamp on your hand?
Yeah, nearly always that's how it happens.
That happened.
Oh, good.
Oh, did it?
And I always fancy my chances that if I was on a platform and there was someone hanging on by their hands, I reckon I'd have them off in a trice.
Yeah, you'd give it a
But
right.
they have such a struggle with it. It's like trying to get
grip training, don't they?
I nearly said bogey then on air. Can I say bogey?
I think
So trying to get a bogey off a side, you know, when it goes onto
People
the little
tuning in
finger.
will just think it's a golf report.
Yeah, when it goes to the second knuckle of the little finger and it just won't. It's a removal.
We said you could say bogey. We didn't say you could say that.
Sorry, everyone.
Disgusting.
Sorry, everyone. And also, the guy got Captain Kirk got. This is not a spoiler alert because this is quite early on in the film. He loses his ship. He doesn't lose it.
I'm glad you said that.
They take it.
I thought you were about to say he'd gone mad and it was a terrible euphemism.
No. And he does that thing where you have a shot of him standing at one end of the bar and getting drunk, you know, on his own.
Oh, drunk. Yeah, I know that shot.
You know that, like, drowning his sorrows, things have gone bad. And he's doing that. And there's an empty stool next to him. And you're thinking, is a beautiful woman going to sit there? And sure enough, a beautiful woman.
Oh, don't tell me she said,
stool.
Is this seat taken?
But the thing is, I often used to go, not to drown my sorrows, just because I liked it. I would sit at one end of the bar on my own and get very, very drunk indeed. Nobody came within 20 feet of me.
You had cars. You were in the central reservation. You don't have seats there.
But in the pub, people would go and get served. There would be a queue at the other end of the bar, and my end of the bar would be empty. No beautiful women ever sat on the stool next to me. If they had done, I'd have pushed them straight off.
Well, ipso facto, I suppose. Is that the phrase?
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
It sounds like you're serving divorce papers on me, and I don't like it.
Was that Latin sitcom about
I think it should have been
about the rag and bone men?
Yeah.
What I meant was, if you would have pushed them off, maybe that's why nobody was sat next to you.
Oh, well, people are hoity-toity. They don't want to be,
I'm more surprised that there's a bar that they're drinking in a Star Trek film. Is that...
Well,
is
there's
that
some
normal?
Earth time takes place.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, it's not all of outer space.
Oh, I didn't know that. I don't think I was aware of that. I thought they were just on galaxies, flying.
I'd like to know what... Because, I find these cliches very reassuring in a film.
Oh, I can't bear it, Frank. Hitman at a fair? Why is the hitman always carousels and fairs? I've never seen a hitman at a fair, and I've been to a good few fairs.
You don't know that. You might have seen many a hitman and not recognised them. I mean, they don't wear hitman T-shirts.
But, oh no, if I see one more person pulling a gun with the carousel music, I'll kill myself.
That's you're right. Anyway, anyone's favourite film cliches, text us in on 81215. There might be some goodies.
Absolute
Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
You're right. We have, in fact, received a text message from the outside world about movie cliches.
I don't know if you can say I'm right. I asked if they'd do it. I never predicted that they would.
Well, 010 has texted, "Hi, Frankie boy."
Oh, no.
010.
Oh, sorry.
"Hi, Frankie boy!" Exclamation mark. Typical movie moment: car crashes, instant explosion. If that were real, the M25 would be much more fun.
It's true, though. They go up pretty quick, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
they go up high as well.
Mm.
What about when they fall down? When they fall down the side of a cliff, they they go into a big roll and then they explode at the bottom.
Oh, cars.
Yeah.
I thought you meant individuals, like people.
And individuals do as well sometimes.
They do.
That's spontaneous human combustion,
Do you think?
which I'd say I spent 41% of all my conversations at secondary school were about spontaneous human combustion. There was a book called Fire from Heaven, and everybody read it, and it was about people bursting into flames for no apparent reason.
Oh, really? Hang on, I'm just going to write that down. I like the sound.
It puts you on edge.
Glenn
Fire
Bateman has
from
tweeted us, "The hero can be involved in a brutal fight without yelping once, but winces like a child when a lady cleans his wounds."
Good point. That's a very good point.
That is true. And I don't know about you, but I never sort of put my arms around a friend and get my mouth close to their ears when I'm talking to them, and then my girlfriend walks in and it looks like there's something going on between us, and she walks off.
And you then say, "I can explain everything."
Yeah, I never do that. I keep my mouth away from the ears of people I'm not going out with.
It's a good rule.
Otherwise,
Good rule.
I know, Mr. Tong. He's off. He's out of control.
I don't like it whenever there's a cop shop, as I call it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm familiar with the American ways. When they walk in, the first person they see, there's always a lady of the night and a cross-dresser.
Yes.
I've noticed that. Don't they have anyone else in these police stations?
You're quite right.
Where's your basic
You want visual-
identity fraudster?
It's because if there's any visually interesting characters, they say, "Can you go on the front desk?" And if there's people that come in and say, "I've lost my dog," they say, "There's a back room."
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. That's dressing. I think they do that in English.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they
I
have
like-
very ugly people. I find them. I don't know. Last time I was in a British police station, they have a sort of Elephant Man exhibition going on the front thing. I mean, I think and if an uglier person come in, they'll say to that one, "You can come to the back room now. You've been superseded." Okay. Speaking of the human body. Are we done on cliches for a minute?
No, I'd
No,
like
I
to
was,
return to them later.
Oh, yeah, we can return to them all day.
Okay.
By the way, we've got a guest today. The first guest
No
we've had
way.
on the show for
Shut up.
2 years, Daisy? More than 2 years. Daisy just says that.
No,
Doesn't matter.
there's not
You
been
got a
guests
date?
since I've been
You
on.
got the date of the last one? No, I thought that was all talk. Yes, Neil Gaiman is joining us today.
He's a friend of mine, and then Frank, kind of friends stole him off me.
Oh, I didn't
that's
really
right,
friends.
yeah.
I just
You tried.
I worshipped at his altar. Is what I did.
And now he's coming in. I could steal him off you two.
Yeah,
Like it could be. Yeah.
it works like that. But anyway, he'll be coming in, and sometimes they say to people, "If you got any questions for Neil Gaiman, text
Oh,
to
yeah.
me." I don't know if we should do that.
Could do that.
So
Frank, can I
was,
just say, sorry, Frank, 723 says horror movies, women fall over when being chased, and cars won't start even when they're brand new.
no, and I tell you something. That thing about the car not starting is I have dreams about that, about being chased and I can't start the car.
Oh, yeah.
And I can always start the car.
Well, everyone can these days, except for Ed Byrne, but that's another story.
Yeah, that's going back a bit. And Stephen K. Amos, I think, couldn't. And then we're reminiscing about guests of the past. Okay, so, oh yes, and I was confronted in quite a big way this week with the human body. More of this in a moment.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
By the way, we've established this morning that if someone says to you, it's like that episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, you can punch them in the face before they complete the sentence. Morally, that's acceptable. Or Seinfeld.
Really?
Yeah.
That reminds me of that episode of...
Can you get him from there? I can't reach out to the desk.
Goading when I know I'm out of reach.
I don't know what that was going to be. It could have been...
of Deadwood.
Yeah, that would have been
that episode of
I'm trying to think of those series that I see on the telly, on the Sky listings.
On the goggle box, you're going to say, like our Keith.
No, but you know things you've never actually watched that you see on Sky listings.
Oh, I've got loads of those.
There's one, A Town Called something. Eureka, is it? A Town Called Eureka.
Yeah.
I've never seen that, but I like the sound of it. I just worry, if I see it, it'd be like speaking to Kate Moss. You'd probably think, oh, I saw her as a sort of distant, angelic figure, and now. Okay, I was crossing Waterloo Bridge, crosses the Thames.
Yeah.
In central.
I'm aware of its work.
Central London. Not all our listeners are in London. Can we remember that?
Oh, sorry about that.
And I was with
sorry for your loss.
I was with my. I'm so sorry for your loss. That was what I heard Liza Minnelli say at the beginning of a gig. And we took ages thinking, what's she talking about? I'm so sorry for your loss. You're so sad. And it turned out she was on about the Queen Mother who died 2 months earlier. She said, I met her once. She was so beautiful. When did you meet her? In 1904. Anyway. I love Liza Minnelli, can I say that? Yes, I'm not ashamed.
Oh, I'm Team Guest. I've met him. Anyway, that's another story.
Yes, I went to their first anniversary party.
You did it.
I did.
Worked them all.
You
always have to Donald me, don't you?
As Emily would say, that's another story. So, I was crossing Waterloo Bridge. I was with my girlfriend Kath and our baby Bars.
Lovely.
And
domestic scene.
we had to stop because there was about 100, I would say, naked people on bicycles cycling over the bridge. Really? I don't know if you were aware, it was a sort of what was it? Was it a protest of some kind?
Well, I saw these naked people. I've never been so disgusted in my life. I was en route to get a blow dry.
I've been much more disgusted than that.
I was!
That's terrible, though. Stopped that. They actually stopped that. That should be like an ambulance.
I was going to get a blow dry in London's glittering Covent Garden.
You should be able to go into the opposite lane, like emergency vehicles.
Like the Olympic lane for blow dries.
Exactly.
And I've never... I mean, I'm sorry, Frank. You know what it did make me think? Because there was a lot of them, weren't there?
Yeah.
The female body looks better, doesn't it? I know it's a cliché, but...
But the older it gets?
No, in comparison to the male body, naked.
Right. I see what you mean.
My girlfriend said
it
to me...
It looked like an old uncooked chicken, those men.
They'd all gone past. I was with my girlfriend, so I tried to look, unimpressed. Right. And she said to me, there's a lot of variety in the men, isn't there? I thought, how dare you ever say that? We left it there.
Really, that was all?
Did she say variety?
Yeah, she said variety.
Oh, I love her.
One woman had underwear on. I remember thinking, whoa. To me, it seemed more exciting than the...
Oh, really?
I saw those men, and I'm not going to get into it. I just will say, I realise I've been very fortunate in my intimate life.
Well...
Let's leave it there.
OK, let's leave it there.
OK.
I realised I'd sort of broken even. But I tell you what worried me, which to me didn't seem very responsible citizen.
Oh, God.
Is that a lot of them were on Boris bikes.
Oh,
no, my God,
yeah,
I feel sickened.
If you don't know, if you're outside London, Boris bikes are bikes that you hire for the, by the hour or for the day or whatever. And I'm worried now. It's put me off going on a Boris bike. What if you've had one of those?
A pack of baby wipes with you, and you can give it a swab on the saddle.
Well, no, I'd want a kettle of boiling water with me.
And some
of those guys.
That's what you want, Dettol and a J-cloth, minimum.
Some of them look like they were just back from Nam.
Well, anyone, I just thought that was just wrong. Surely.
Oh, dear.
I mean, no. That's what I mean. But having said that, I had no problem with the actual bike ride. And mainly because there was a man next to me with his family, and he went, weirdos. And I thought, that is the difference, isn't it? I don't want to be with this bloke.
Yeah.
Good weirdos.
Team, yeah.
I'd rather be with the variety conversation.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, I want to know, if they were naked, where did they keep their money for the Boris bikes?
Very good point.
It is saddlebags.
They're not only filthy creeps, they're criminals.
Inbuilt saddlebags.
No, I'll tell you what I did see. I saw a few of those those arm things that runners wear sometimes.
Oh,
where
yeah.
you got a
But were they round their arm? Oh.
little purse. Oh.
Our Keith has texted in.
Keith, in case you're new to the show, is my brother.
Yeah. And he says, hi, Bro and crew. Cars going over cliffs. Always a white Jag in my days.
He's right. It wasn't
He's
always
talking
a
about
white
film
Jag.
cliches, of course.
Yeah, because
Indeed.
I suppose that's because it shows up against the
Oh, yeah.
the cliffside.
Darkness of the cliff.
Yeah, and there's something great about the the bonnet thing with
Yes,
the,
I know
with,
the
with,
bonnet.
with
Oh,
the
yeah.
Jaguar, the silver Jaguar. Something great about that hitting rock.
I often get envy of film computer hackers because of how fast they can type. You know, when they're like...
Oh.
But you know,
And guess what they always say out? They always go, we're in.
Yeah, they're in. That's
We're
it.
in. That's all they ever say.
That's it. We're in the CIA website or whatever it is. Yeah, I've
I
just
think you'll
updated
find
it.
they're in the mainframe.
They're probably in the mainframe, which I've never been in.
No.
No, I've never been there. It's not a bad pull. I went out with a woman who could do 100 words a minute.
Wow.
It's not boasting.
Talking. No, she could type 100 words a minute. It was brilliant to watch. It was like close-up magic. But and you thought, that's just going to be gibberish, and then it'd be like proper words, spaces, punctuation. The works. Yeah.
273 cliches. The ventilation system in a building is a perfect hiding place.
Yeah.
No more things to look there.
And they always lead to the room you're trying to get to as well.
Yeah.
That is true. Who does it ever... Have you ever tried getting a grid off the front of a vent? It's a big job.
Reaching above you, and there's a grid that opens naturally.
Yeah, like
you just push it. Just give it a little push, and then it's off in a clean sweep.
Movie cliches. The last second change of heart when cutting the red wire or the blue wire. That's a good point.
Yeah. I must admit, I'd probably do that as well. No, I don't think I would.
Don't take this the wrong way, but I don't ever think you'd be in that position.
I would be delegating that task.
We could all end up... We could all find an unexploded bomb in our back garden. Well, I could if I had a back garden. And you see, there was a period of my life when I tried following the samurai code.
I do remember.
I didn't go.
Remind me what the basic principle is.
Well, I went and saw a film called Ghost Dog Way of the Samurai, which was like...
Haven't we all?
Just like one of the best films I'd ever seen in my life. So I thought... And he lived by this book, which samurai warriors used. Obviously, the bit about chopping heads off and that, I didn't do. But there's lots of other really helpful stuff, like you make every decision in the space of 7 breaths, for example. And one of the things is they say that the sparrow hawk... When he goes into a cloud of sparrows, he picks one sparrow and he sticks with it. He's going to have that sparrow, even if another one came and sat on his shoulder. That's this week's text in. Do sparrowhawks have shoulders? If they do, I'd love to see their Amdram versions of Treasure Island. What do they have? A sparrow on there? That'd be real tempting. And what sparrow would take that job? Anyway... They pick their sparrow, and no matter what happens, if another one comes close, if there's one injured, they always go for that sparrow. And the idea is that samurai say that they talk about doing it in a fight, but also just in life. Mm-hmm. That thing that you want, stick with it and don't get distracted. So if you're out on the pool tonight, remember that.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
So this is, if you saw the birthday honours today, you'll see that both Rowan Atkinson and Tony Robinson have got honours. I reckon the Queen's got drunk, put the telly on. For the first time she's seen Blackadder, and thought, I love this. Steve, have you got the honours?
Steve!
Can you bring the honours list and a biro? And she's just tacked them on the end. I mean, why else would they out of the blue? These
Rowan Atkinson, fair enough, but Tony...
Yeah, but why now?
Robbo...
Why now?
Yeah. Why ever with Robbo?
Could have easily been Ron Atkinson if she'd been a bit drunker.
I'd love him turning up to the palace in his full-length leather.
That would have been front page news, wouldn't it?
It's usually front page news, the honours.
Yeah.
So, yes, so I was telling you I'd seen the naked bike ride thing, which was, quite a shocker.
Indeed.
I describe it as an eye-opener.
Indeed.
Someone said, what about the bloke who got off his bike and stood outside a pub with a beer?
I think they'd set the bike too high. Sorry, got outside the pub.
I only just got the eye-opener joke. Very good. With regards to the naked bike ride, what about the bloke who got off his bike and stood outside a pub with a beer? Surely that's pushing it.
What was it about, the naked bike ride?
What was the
Can you text in if you know freedom?
Freedom.
Freedom to...
It's about freedom.
All right, George Michael, calm down, dear.
Freedom in its many forms. George Michael didn't go on it. He can't be trusted even on two wheels.
No.
Imagine if you'd have seen George Michael on the bike.
Yeah. That would have been... or just in a car, ploughing through them. Excuse me! Excuse me! There's George, you've killed 8 people. Mr. Loophole saying it's going to be tricky this time, George. It's going to be a fine. It's going to be a big fine. So, anyway, so I saw this on the Sunday. On the Monday, I'm back on Waterloo Bridge. I'm crossing Waterloo Bridge.
For like a encore.
yeah, waiting. Like Greyfriars Bobby.
Yeah, exactly.
With a faraway look in my eye. Where are they? Is that so? Oh, no, it's a pink sweatsuit.
Oh.
So, there's a load of people standing on one side of the bridge looking over the edge.
Oh.
And I thought, there's a river below it.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm aware of the fact the bridge is over the Thames. So.
Yeah, but,
any bridges.
Not all our listeners are from London.
Okay.
So, I went to cross to see what was going on. And then, before I'd even got across, something quite shocking happened.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So, as I crossed the road towards this, lots of people were pointing at the water, and they didn't look like it was fun. They looked distressed, because I thought it couldn't still be the Michael Jackson His Story statue going up the Thames. Not now.
No.
Anyway, just as I crossed the road, there's a woman standing there, and the wind took her dress high. Till not only did I see it, but I saw the waistband of her pants, and the beginning.
Saw
waistband, and the beginning of her spinal cord. I mean, completely high.
Binoculars.
I was crossing the road, and she was standing looking over the bridge. The whole thing. Now, in my life, I have only seen that happen 3 times, and I've been alive a long time, and I live in a quite windy country.
Right.
I was with you on one of these occasions.
Were you really?
Well, you tell me who the dramatis personae were, and I'll tell you on which occasion I was with you.
Oh, well, the only ones I remember...
It was in Edinburgh when I saw it.
That was only happened, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, one in Edinburgh and another one on Waterloo Bridge. I just walk up and down there ever since, again. So, it made me think, well, if this man perishes, his life has not been wasted in vain. Because at least I've seen this.
Nice.
This is the man who jumped off. As it was, I saw him he was in a ship. He looked all right.
Well, he jumped off the bridge?
He jumped off the bridge. The police had gone and got him, and he was sort of having a chat.
All right. Did they have the sort of like, you finished the marathon crinkly blanket round his shoulders? You know, that sort of silver foil blanket? Did they pop that on him?
There was a blanket,
right.
But it was more, is there any news about the Titanic? Widow Shaw. I knew, all I'll remember is the pants from that incident, even though a man nearly lost his life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I'll remember is the pants. That's got to be a footballer's autobiography.
Yeah. I think that could be Mike Baldwin's autobiography. But well, I have more to say about this because it's there might be women at home thinking, "Oh, you filthy creep," but it's more complicated.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm this morning with Emily, Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text us on 81215, 81215, or follow us on the Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email us through the Absolute Radio website. We are available for communication.
We are. In the interest of, professional conduct at the top of the hour, we should just remind them what plates we have spinning. We've been discussing movie cliches.
I love it.
Yeah. Our favourite movie cliches.
Well,
what's your favourite one so far?
Well, Stuart Kidd has just come up with one.
Oh, yeah.
He says the cleverly placed boxes, barrels or parked car that poorly hides the ramp that helps the car crash look good.
Is that why they have those boxes of fruit and stuff that they go into?
Yeah.
And there's always Chinese people running out the way. You can be chasing someone in Reykjavik and you'll almost certainly crash into the market stall of some Chinese people.
And there'll be cabbages akimbo.
Oh, cabbages everywhere. Cabbages akimbo, actually. Is the new stage show I'm doing. It's a modern dance thing. Come along.
I tell you, you know what I also hate, Frank? You know when they hit to show that the heroine or something is a bit sad and lonely? You have no new messages. Oh, I can't bear
Do
that.
they do that?
Yeah, they always do that.
I haven't seen that.
People don't listen to the answer machine now.
Also,
Facebook and Twitter don't go to the answer machine.
that thing about the ugly women in film are always beautiful women with glasses on and their hair up.
Oh, I like that. It's like playing Jane on Neighbours.
Yeah.
But they're
Playing
always
Jane
beautiful.
Supergray.
Yeah, she was stunning. It was a properly exciting big
Prettiest girl in
reveal.
Erinsborough.
I think that
She was amazing.
That to me is like white people blacking up to get parts.
What?
There's ugly women thinking, that should be my job. And in fact, what they've done is they've got a beautiful woman to basically ugly up.
Yes.
That's not fair. By the way, Tony Blair has denied that he had an affair with Wendy.
What are you doing this hour?
I'm just making it clear that Tony Blair has denied that he had an affair with Wendy Deng.
Don't talk about it.
He's denied it. It's off the agenda.
Yeah.
It wasn't on the agenda until you mentioned it.
Can I just
I
deny
don't think
it as
he'd
well?
lie.
I'd like to deny that I've had an affair with Wendy Deng too. Anybody else while Tony's
I'd like
about
to
it?
deny that I had an affair with Sir Tony Robinson.
Oh, okay. Well, if you'd have to have been quick, he's only happened this morning. It'd have been Tony Robinson.
And you've been working.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a blier. Do you remember they used to do that?
They
used to do that protest where they used to spell his name
I
blier.
think they still do on the Daily Mail comments. People are always mentioning Blyer. Even
they?
now. Yeah, they need to get
I
over
didn't think it was
themselves.
that good.
That was terrible.
It's not amazing, is it?
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just thinking that in the Blair household today, every time the microwave goes off, ding, it's a terrible cold atmosphere goes across the whole thing. So, I saw this woman's skirt blew up and I saw her whole pants.
That's another plate that we've got spinning is
Yes.
pants that Frank has seen through the years.
And
I like her whole pants. She's 7 years old.
I won't tolerate sexism in any of its manifestations, but I don't. You can't help finding that thrilling in some way because it seems like it's an act of God. On it. That's what I put on the insurance for. Did I tell you I had a heart attack when I saw it?
I love an AOG, as long as it wasn't AIG.
So
on that
bear in
form.
mind, this is a week where I've already seen a lot of naked people go past on bikes, and then suddenly I've seen a woman's whole pants.
Wow.
And then the next day, and I swear to you, this is true in every
and then. How did you do anything
in every
this week?
detail. Well, I'm just on my way places when this happens. I'm walking down Maiden Lane, of all places, in Covent Garden in London. And there's a woman, I see a woman standing in the middle of the street. She must have been 6 feet tall. She looked unbelievable. I thought, obviously, a model.
Yeah.
She got like a vest top. I think it was spaghetti straps. And and a black mini skirt. But she looked like a beautiful model. Tall, as you'd expect it. So I thought, what a week I've had. I don't think it can get any more exciting than the week I've had. At which point she took her skirt off.
No.
Yeah.
I was going to say shut the front door, but I'm not now.
No. And, I couldn't. I thought you were on about the one on my long johns. No, but she was being photographed, as it turned out. It was like an underwear shoot in the middle of of the street, right next to... Obviously, I couldn't stop and linger, because when you're a celebrity, you can't. You'll be photographed looking, and that's your career ruined. That's why I've kept it to myself. But, what a week. So, naked bike ride, woman's whole pants, and then another woman's whole pants, and no skirt at all. And, I don't even remember talking to that genie.
Frank Skinner
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
What a remarkable week it was.
Yeah.
Did I tell you that this woman was outside the Catholic Church in Maiden Lane? That's what worried me.
Well, the woman with her whole pants on show.
No, this is the woman who took her skirt off.
Oh, yeah, the skirt.
I mean, why would she be outside? Was it a photo shoot that was making some sort of... was it...
Point.
Was it...
Maybe it's just a nice backdrop.
Yeah, but I'm hope it's not some sort of salacious reference to the... You don't remember salacious reference? I think it was Jack Black, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that happened. I have to say... This is a detail. Just after I got past this woman who took her skirt off, I had to rewind my audio book.
Yes.
I realised I hadn't been focused.
Yeah.
So then I got off the I got off the tube. I got off Embankment Tube the next day. I'm not making a
I love that you get the tube.
I'm not making a word of this. I don't lie on this show.
Yeah, we know.
Scalion, that's it. If I'd been Prime Minister, that's what they've been. Scalion. I mean, it just...
Okay, next week more in a series of If I'd Been Prime Minister.
So, there's a girl handing out leaflets, quite an attractive woman, handing out leaflets, and I noticed that some people she was completely not giving the leaflets to.
I was going to say completely naked.
Yeah, she just took her skirt off.
Yeah.
No, she was... this is a slightly...
To see two naked women,
this is a spin-off. So, I thought, she's different. She's definitely not. She's not giving them a leaflet. She's giving that bloke. I thought that she's a bit selective. I wonder if I'll get a leaflet. Suddenly getting a leaflet, you think, oh, God, give me a leaflet. Yeah. I'm thinking, oh no, I wonder if I'll get one. Am I in the leaflet club? So she gave me a leaflet. I got a leaflet, and I thought, yes, thank you very much. I've got my leaflet. It's an organisation. This is what it says on it. Are you tired of being alone without a beautiful young woman at your side? I mean, I was just walking.
I hope you stuffed it back in your pocket and turned back and told her what a week you'd had.
We can provide you with that perfect partner, and at a very affordable price.
What, for the hour?
I'm sorry.
Are they talking about for the hour?
And I don't know what... I mean, honestly, for those of you who cannot travel to Prague... Hold on!
Prague can come to you.
Come from? We have designed a programme via which you can still meet the lady of your dreams.
I don't like the sound of the programme.
Skype is the programme.
What do you mean?
I've used it.
What, Flight? Flight is the programme. Ferries. It says our programmes are designed for single men looking for a true life partner who is beautiful, 10 to 40 years younger. 40 years younger? Intelligent, educated, and whose culture is one of support and respect for their partner. Now, why me? Why did I get this? That wasn't a rhetorical question. That's the texting. No, it isn't.
I have to say the switchboard has blown up on that question. It's gone
Most
crazy.
Beautiful ladies, the organisation.
So you go to Prague, but they're only in Prague because
they'll travel.
Oh, will they? Will drive self.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it most beautiful ladies then with an asterisk just in the top corner? The definitions of most may differ.
I don't know if they've got an asterisk in the top corner. A lot of the pictures are pixelated. But it says at the end, my one get-out clause, P.S., if you're in a successful relationship or married... successful relationship or married, you know... please pass this leaflet on to a single friend. So, I'm going to do that. I'm just trying to think... Yeah, I know exactly who.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've just heard from the outside world. Richard Broderick says, Frank, I also received this leaflet.
Oh.
What annoyed me most was the girl handing it out made a beeline and walked through about 6 people to get to me. Clearly she knew her target audience.
Yeah, I know.
Obviously I took it back to the office to joke about it before carefully folding it up and filing it away in my drawer. Top show, Richard.
Well, it sounds like me and Richard have basically done the same thing. We thought we've been insulted, but maybe we can get jokes out of this in front of our colleagues. Yeah.
Is he not saying he's filing it away into his drawer just in case? Is that not what he's implying?
I'm leaving it here in the studio because there's quite a lot of single men at Absolute who I think would be glad of it.
It's like a civil public service that you're offering.
Yeah. Well, I think, pass it on. That's what I've always thought. That's the email corner jingle, which means that we have we go to emails that you've sent in.
Emily's gone. She's properly
gone. You say?
She's really. I think you're harmonising to the email corner jingle has sent her.
Do you know why?
It's difficult having to come up with a different harmony every week.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I'm reaching. I'll be honest. You might not notice this. I'm reaching the bottom of the barrel.
I like it because it reminds me of how you probably were in France on your holiday, which we discussed last week.
It reminds me of how I was in the 80s all the time, and that's why the beautiful woman never sat next to me on the bar stool.
Yeah. Could have done with some leaflets then.
Oh, beautiful women.
Who needs
extraordinary segue?
Shut up. So, I met two... I'll tell you after.
You said I met 2 beautiful women?
I met 2 beautiful women this week, but they were like exotic cats.
Where did you meet them?
It was in an exclusive private club.
Oh, God. You are disgusting.
No, not one of those. It was
stag do.
You have a child and a partner.
This was a work meeting in one of those...
In a men's club?
No, I never said it was a men's club.
But it was.
It was not. I'll tell you where it was after, but perhaps I shouldn't name it. But it's one of those...
I will. Sophisticats.
It's a trend. It was a trendy media type club place.
Oh, Stringfellows.
And these were women from the planet posh, who anyway.
Okay.
So posh, and we couldn't really communicate.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you managed with me.
No, but you're a different. You're arts and crafts.
I am.
Never
actually,
forget
darling.
that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're in email.
Okay,
corner.
email corner.
I have an email here regarding your trip
you were
to
going to
France.
sing. I have a dream.
Maybe next time.
Okay.
Bonjour, Frank, Alan and Emily. Although I've never been to the town of Castelmoron in the Bergerac region of France, I may have an idea as to why you heard a siren sound whilst you were sitting outside the cafe.
I think that sums up. For those of you who don't know this, that's exactly what happened to me. Midday, and this... went
really
off.
loud,
Yeah.
really loud.
Yeah.
It's as loud as it could get last week,
in
wasn't
a
it?
beautiful little French sort of... almost a
Yeah.
village.
Well, he continues, if I remember correctly, any city or town will at midday on the first Wednesday of the month test the siren, brackets located in the town square, close brackets, that would normally be sounded as a warning of an imminent invasion. If we were ever tempted to invade France again...
2013.
If we were ever tempted to invade France again, I'd suggest we could surprise them just before lunchtime on the first Wednesday of the month, from Mark.
But before we move into this, it's just struck me that describing Castelmoron as almost a village. Almost a village could be... You know those outsized men's shops? That could be like a size.
Oh, yeah.
Extra large, extra large, extra large, almost a village. that could be on the label.
Although if they adopted that, the villagers themselves would have to be really enormous gentlemen, wouldn't they? Because you get almost a village and then, like, an actual villager. they'd be huge specimens, wouldn't they?
Well, no.
Wouldn't they?
No, because this would be a man who was as big as a village. The village residents don't need to be big.
No, but I mean the villagers, the band would have to be enormous people.
The villagers.
You two are having a weird conversation. What are you talking about, you two?
This is one of these things where I feel I've turned over 2 pages in the script.
I'm just Googling about makeup.
Anyway, the alarm.
Hold on.
I think that's good.
The alarm, now, I'm not playing them next.
Oh, they were Welsh.
So, yes, the work sirens, they actually anticipate invasion still in the south of France.
So it would appear.
Bizarre. Oh, I can hear scratching. Daisy, what are you doing? Yes. Well, when I was a child, there used to be work sirens that used to go off for, like, lunchtime.
Oh, yeah.
And finishing time at the local factory. So they punctuated our day. And that doesn't happen anymore.
No,
so you'd hear the sort of workers, and all that'd be lunchtime.
Really?
Yeah.
And then you get into the Anderson shelter.
Well, it's not. We also had a dog. Well, actually, this wasn't where I lived. I went out with a woman, and near where she lived, 'cause sometimes I stayed over. I know.
Legend.
And and there was a dog by that used to bark the beginning of the American national anthem.
No.
I used to hear it bark in the night. It used to go, or, 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 or. Oh, no, it didn't do the last note. It used to go, or, 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 or. And then there'd be a, or, 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 or. And I had to complete it every time. Not the whole. Not the whole. Yeah, amazing. I'm just on about things from my youth now. I'll be talking about the pig bag in a minute.
Yeah. I don't want to know about the pig bag, although it sounds protein-based, which is good, always good in my book.
No, the pig bag, I'm going to tell you, used to hang on the school gates by where we lived, and people would put, peelings and bits of old food.
Yes,
yeah.
we had that at my school.
Did you?
No, funnily enough, we didn't.
Oh, okay. I honestly thought you did. Yes, and then the man who, I don't know, I never saw it, early in the morning, a man would come and take it to the pigs to eat.
Great.
Which pigs?
I don't know, actually.
Which pigs?
The
That's
pigs.
it. The pigs. Like,
I don't know.
everyone has
The
pigs
community
attached.
pigs. They
Yeah,
had
no.
community pigs.
No, I
there.
don't know where there were pigs in Smethwick.
Are you sure
I
they
must
took them
admit.
to the pigs?
Well, maybe they ate them. Maybe they
what I
came
think.
and ate. Maybe it was
Like
a ruse
Peter the Wild,
by the
just
local.
chomping on apples and onions.
Do you think the local homeless were scamming us for giving them free peelings? They could, if they'd have just asked, I would have given them peelings.
Yeah. Have we got time for email too?
I know. You know what? I've got an important business to do.
Okay, but I'll just trail it to say it starts. Dear Thank Emily and Alun.
Thank.
Yes.
Okay. What do you make of that?
Well, I think we'll discuss it.
This is what's
Come
come.
back
It's
to it.
the 3 R's. They've been neglected at school. And there's an example of one of them going down the toilet.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We were just in email corner, and I think we'd actually begun one.
We had. Dear Thank Emily and Alun, as an expat, I am sometimes behind on the latest topics. Upon hearing Frank's hatred of waste, cutting up ketchup bottles, for example, I thought he might be interested in an implement that we have here in Holland. As far as I know, no other country makes use of such a thing that is dedicated to eradicate waste. And he's put a link to the Wikipedia bottle scraper. It's either the desire to avoid unnecessary waste or the extreme frugality, read tightness, of the Dutch that has led to the widespread use of this implement. It is, in my opinion, a little extreme to say the least. Its full title is a fleshen liquor, literally translated as bottle liquor.
I'm nervous.
And is widely available here in the Netherlands. Delivery of the item can be arranged if so desired. All the best, Paul in Amsterdam. Now, I've looked at it, and it's like...
Hold on, if you think I'm writing to Amsterdam for a Flesson liquor,
Yeah,
this is a setup, isn't
You're not
it?
going to make that mistake again, are you?
So it scrapes the...
It's like a little sort of movable scraper that's on the end of a long
stick.
sort of
Oh.
stick. A bit like, You know, if you were to buy bubbles, you know those bubbles that you would blow?
God, I
and
buy
the
them
end-
regularly.
Yeah, if you were to replace the end loop with a scraper for tomato sauce or mayonnaise or
See, I think
whatever
I could get a
condiment.
lot of use out of that.
Yeah, I think we all would, but I'm surprised that it's only the Dutch that are using it.
Well, when I say I buy those bubbles regularly,
Well, don't we all love?
I do because I find they don't last.
What, the bubbles?
Yeah.
Well, what are you using them for?
I blow them to entertain my child, and then they're gone in seconds.
Yeah,
What am I doing wrong?
it's a brilliant business model, isn't it?
It is.
Frank,
Built-in obsolescence. That's,
Yeah,
that's what
exactly.
bubbles
That's
have
what
got.
started Apple off, isn't it?
565, morning FS and crew. I like FS. During the war, I remember there were pig bins for waste food. That's Cheryl and Kettering.
Good old was there anyone called Cheryl who was arrived during the war?
Evidently.
She must have seen it in a documentary. Pig
Yeah.
Bin Heaven. was there a pig Bin Heaven night on BBC 4? Yeah, well, that's it. I was obviously that was they stayed in Smethwick and Oldbury.
Yeah, they probably just thought, well, if it's not broken...
But
we'll
now, in the
fix
age
it.
of recycling,
Yeah, we should have pig bins.
yeah, I'm all for it.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Boys, I need to talk to you about something. I've been on my travels this week.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're here at last.
I popped over to my spiritual home. I went to Beverly Hills.
Wow.
Oh, I love it, Frank. I didn't really leave Beverly Hills. I didn't go anywhere else. And I was a guest of Dior, and they treat you well. There's no scrimping on the luxury front.
No.
There were cars taking me round. I kept saying, charge it to the Dior account.
Wow.
That's what I said.
Wow.
I tried that in Tesco last night. It didn't work very well.
No.
It's a good sentence to get used to
Yeah.
saying, though. That's great.
They had the door. You'd get into a car. I had a Dior car while I was there.
A
with my
Dior door?
driver.
Yeah.
And I got so spoilt, I just used to leave the door open. It was only when I left that I realised I hadn't closed or opened a car door in 5 days.
Well, it's like being George Michael. At least you were stationary.
I laughed. There were some lovely waiters. I was at the Beverly Hills Hotel. The waiter said to me the first night, I said, what do you recommend? He said, I would go for the chicken. I think you'll find it very visually stimulating.
Great.
Don't you love that?
Yes.
But I'll cut to the chase.
But
There was a reason why I was there. I was a guest of Dior because they were unveiling their new face. And I was there to meet, no biggie, Robert Pattinson.
Bob?
You can't call him Bob.
No.
He's no Bob. He's no Bob.
Harpat.
Well, I don't think
No.
I don't
What's
think he
his-
likes that very much.
What's his
isn't that
tabloid
what-
nickname?
You called it
Isn't
our
that-
pat, like cow pat.
Yeah. I think it's our Pats, isn't it?
It is, but
Oh, is it?
I don't know whether he
It's
likes
like,
that.
you know, like Irish people wear on St Patrick's night. Harp hats.
I was interviewing him for InStyle magazine, so I can't give away too many spoiler alerts.
That's
but
the sort of thing they would have said when I was a kid. I'm going
Yeah.
down our Pats on... I'm going down our Pats on Tuesday. And now he's become an So you interviewed him?
I interviewed him. I was
So
so
first
nervous.
question.
Yeah.
He has won, like, most handsome man. Oh, in all the magazines.
Oh, yeah.
How handsome is our Pats?
Oh, well, I'd say he's beyond an 11.
Really?
Shut up.
He looked very young. He was very teenage-like.
How
way.
old is Harper?
I think you're calling him Harper now.
Harpo. Harpy.
Are we going to guess it or
Is he
Google it?
26, 27
Okay.
mark?
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, but he was very nice. There were 2 security men outside. He laughed politely at my jokes. I think he had GSOH, but then he did just laugh at my jokes. I thought that was good.
GSOH, remind me.
Good sense of humour.
Oh, okay.
You'll need that for that Czech dating.
Oh, yeah.
But
I don't know if it's check. I think it might just be credit card.
Frank, guess what?
Go on.
I asked a question on your behalf.
No.
I did. Because I thought I'm over here, and I thought, I bet there's something, Frank. So I brought up Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why. I suddenly said, I said, are you interested in Doctor Who?
What, being the new one, do you mean?
Yes. I said, do you watch it?
Good call, huh?
I know. I said, do you watch it? He went, no, I don't really watch it. I said, you know they're looking for a new Doctor, though.
Did he know that?
I don't know.
See, I never know what they know, people
know.
like
Yeah,
our
yeah.
Pats, how much they're in the world.
I know.
Yeah.
So I said to him, would you consider it? He said, well, I said, I looked up your odds. He said, oh, did you? What were they?
Oh.
I said,
he likes to gamble.
I said 80 to 1. He looked really disappointed.
Well, I was 66 to 1.
Well, no, then I told
tell him that?
Well, no, I told him, I said Stephen Fry was 66 to 1. He went, oh. When I told him he was 80 to 1, he said, that's a bit low, isn't it?
But that's because they think he'd never do it because he's too big.
I think he looked a bit competitive. I think he would do it.
I think if Arpat's agent phoned up and said, actually, Arp is...
Oh!
He's in the running.
Arp's interested. I think they'd be... God, imagine the ratings they'd get
Yeah.
if he was the Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I mean, he's... Let's face it, beautiful.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and good old Alan Cochrane.
Good old Alan Cochrane.
I like that. It's
my
familiar.
He's all sort of the earth man of the people. I
Yeah.
get nothing.
No, you get your normal grandeur. You can text us on 81215, and you can follow us on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, and you can email us through the Absolute Radio website. We're a bit excited here in the little studio because we haven't had a guest on the show for about 2 years. We stopped them because we didn't like them. But I said it would have to be somebody pretty special for me to break the
You
guest
did.
rule.
You did.
And guess what? Neil Gaiman. So we're all very excited about that.
Who you fancy soul off me?
I think he's in the building, even.
Is he?
I can feel the genius coming under the doors. So we were with...
Well, I'll tell you exactly where we were. We were in a hotel room in Beverly Hills with me and Robert Pattinson.
I know,
but you
well,
don't want to hear about that.
I don't think it's up there with my seeing a woman's whole pants anecdote.
Yeah, haven't you two had quite the week? I've been to Ramsbottom
You're
since
talking
you
about
asked.
me and Robert.
Well, so
True.
it's come to this. Loneliness is a terrible thing.
Indeed.
So there is a place called Ramsbottom. I thought it was like
There
made
is.
up for... It's like Crinkly Bottom. and
No,
all.
there is a place called Ramsbottom, but
Okay.
let's back in LA.
Oh, no, you don't want to hear about Robert Pattinson.
We don't want to go to Greater
Manchester.
Manchester when we could be in LA. In
So
Beverly Hills
I was
Hotel.
asking him... Pats. No, I don't think he's a fan of our Pats.
Oh, really?
But I was asking him
I
about...
call him Madge. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. What did you ask him about?
Well, I was asking him about Doctor Who, but I sort of put my foot in it. I've been drinking from your cup, Frank, because that's when I said, when I told him the odds, he looked a bit disappointed. I shouldn't have said that. But I said, oh, well, he said, oh, who are the people in the frame for it? I thought, oh, he's interested.
Yeah.
I've got him interested. I said, Russell Tovey? He said, oh, I don't know who that is.
Well, he's been out the country a
Well,
lot, to be
exactly.
fair.
I said, Chiwetel Ejiofor. I just said that because it sounded impressive. Like I knew how to pronounce the name and everything. And he's an
I would have
actor.
just... Because he doesn't know, you could have said, Ken Dodd. Ken Dodd's in the frame.
Cockerel. Did you
he
mention
could
the cockerel?
He could have said
No?
anything.
No, I didn't.
Do you think... Can I ask you a question?
No, when I asked him that, Robert Pattinson said, I thought he was Jason the Asthmatic.
Oh, good. Good. He's aware of my work.
If David Beckham's people phoned
Yeah.
the BBC and said David Beckham wants to be the new Doctor Who, wouldn't they be slightly tempted? Can you imagine the ratings if David Beckham
Well,
was Doctor
you know who we
I
need-
mean, for the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I just wonder if he's that big, he could get it.
You know who we need to ask about this?
Neil Gaiman, you think he's
Yes.
got... He won't tell us anything. Even if he knew. I don't even know
He
if
will
the beat...
sing like a canary, 5 minutes with me.
Well, I look forward to that. Luckily, I've bought my zither.
Oh, good.
Well, we'll be back with Neil Gaiman.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I need some Neil Gaiman music. So Neil Gaiman is actually with us in the studio. Now, this feels about right for you. What do you think, Neil?
Do you know where this is from, Neil? This is
I've absolutely no idea. Where is this
from Day of the Triffids, which I starred in as a child. So you've stolen my theme tune.
Listen, here we go. Yeah, when Emily was a child... When Emily was a child star, she was in Day of the Triffids, the BBC version.
As a very small Triffid?
Yeah, as a bod. As a green shoot. No, she was the frightened child.
I was young Susan.
So, look, Neil, it's great to have you on. And
It's wonderful to see you again.
I mean, where do we... If you don't know Neil Gaiman, come on! What can I say? Coraline, Stardust... Whoa, Sandman. My favourite novel ever, I think, is American Gods. It's not often you meet... You know, that's one of those books, Neil, that when I finished it, I was really upset that I'd finished it. And I kind of feel that it's a bit mine.
Yes, I think that's the best thing about the kind of books that you bond with on a sort of weird personal level, which is they're your book. You went and lived in that space.
So what I want to talk is royalties.
Let's go for it.
No, but your new...
I'm so embarrassed of you.
No, but your new book, which The Ocean at the End of the Lane, is... I was so glad when I read it, and I thought, we've got him coming on, thank God I love it, because otherwise I'll have to just lie. And I'm not a great liar. But that is another book where I thought, you know what, I don't think anyone else will really get this book like I'm getting it.
What I love best about this book is that, for me, it was so completely personal. I thought, I'm going to write the book that is like looking out of my eyes, age 7, little kid, slightly bookish, and just let everything go and see what happens. It was like a little love letter to my wife, because I missed her, and she was off making an album in Australia for 4 months. So I started writing her a short story.
I should say Neil's married to Barbara Streisand.
You realise there are people listening to that who will simply remember that as a little item of trivia.
Oh, I heard Barbara Streisand's husband on the radio. No, he's married to Amanda Palmer, who some of you who how can I put the sort of alternatives amongst you will be very familiar with. And if you don't know it, I suggest you... What's the thing? Ascosia, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the new Google, Neil.
We're pushing a new
it.
search engine because they give money to the rainforests rather than not pay tax.
Well, they say
we
that.
like that.
Yeah, we like that a lot. Yeah, so when I first started reading it, I thought it was a kid's book, and then I realised it was a book with kids in it. But it's actually quite scary in parts.
It's very scary.
And I've never known canvas to be quite so frightening. And I don't want this is not a spoiler thing here, but there's a lot of flapping canvas that really freaks me out in it.
Good.
Good. That's great.
You have achieved that end.
I did my job. I did it properly.
And I'll tell you, sorry, but there's something else in it which really reminded me of my childhood. And there's a wardrobe, and you say on the door of the wardrobe, it looks like there's monsters on the door. And there was exactly that in my parents' bedroom.
I wonder, one of the things I really tried to do was just, while I was writing it, was go back in my head to being about that age and describe the world that I saw, which is not the world that you see now. And I wound up remembering stuff I'd forgotten for 30, 40 years. Things like the way that patterns in wood could become screaming faces or monsters. Things like the way that kids don't use paths. They make their own paths. You sort of, you never see an adult down on his hands and knees crawling through the rhododendrons trying to figure out where you're going.
Should have seen Frank in Birmingham in the 80s.
Yeah. I knew you were going to say that.
And I did.
Yes. Well, yeah, but it reminded me of my childhood, but it reminded me that childhood is actually quite scary, which I'd sort of forgotten.
Yeah, I started the book with a quote from Maurice Sendak, where he says that when he was a child, he knew all these terrible things, but he couldn't tell adults because it would scare them.
Yeah.
And I just thought, yes, that's the book I want to write.
Well, this is a book where... We'll come back to this, because we're a commercial radio station. We have to play adverts and stuff like that. We're working for the man. I hope I'm not getting too far from the mountain.
Never are.
If you get that, you really know Neil Gaiman stuff.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We have Neil Gaiman in the studio. We haven't touched his hair yet, but we're talking about it. People do, apparently. So, Neil, let's cut to the chase now. Can you get me a part in Doctor Who?
Can I say Mooncat has tweeted in, if Neil Gaiman is in, get him to write you into a Doctor Who episode.
Yeah, it's all there. Come on,
if I write another Doctor Who, which right now, on the one hand, I really want to, and on the other hand, I can only do if Stephen Moffat can send me an envelope containing 3 extra months that, nobody's ever heard of before.
Not 3 extra months' pay.
No, just the months. I need the time. The money's fine for money. I just need time.
People so rarely own up to that.
But I obviously I will try and stick Frank Skinner in as Frank Skinner.
Really?
And you will be fine until they cast Robert Pattinson as Frank Skinner.
No, but he'll be Doctor Who. We've already worked that out.
Yeah.
Also, you said, I read that you said you'd like to write an adventure that was set on Earth.
I want to do
and that's where I operate generally.
I know.
You are quite earthy. That is a fact.
You are, and mostly, obviously, on Earth, Frank. That we probably won't tell them about your
No.
intergalactic wanderings.
Whoa! If we're going to do secrets, Neil once showed me his secret pocket. Can I say that?
God.
He's not a marsupial, I'm not suggesting that. Go on, tell us about your secret pocket now. I was really impressed and excited.
I was disgusted.
Oh, you were there?
Yes.
All of the jackets that I wear have pockets inside, including ones that are practically shoplifter pockets that are intended to hold huge notebooks, so I can pull them out and start scribbling. And even this one has... I counted the other day and found that there were actually 11 pockets in this jacket.
Wow.
So
Are they customised then?
yeah, it's a lovely lady named Cambriel who makes them for me.
You see, I love that, because most people know they make a note on their iPhone or something. You're still operating with a...
I'm still on paper.
Do you use a quill?
I use things that look like this, Frank.
Not a fountain pen.
Yeah.
It's a fountain. See, that's what I like about you, Neil. Is you're a man. It's like Jack Kerouac. Not only are you a writer, but you seem to respect writing and see it as a magical, supernatural art.
Well, it is. I mean, it's the process of getting ideas and pictures and worlds out of your head and into somebody else's. It's the sort of the ultimate collaboration. It's between me as a writer and you as a reader. You'll take these 26 letters and a bunch of punctuation marks and you'll build a world with them, and that's absolute magic.
Wow. That's the trailer worked out for next week.
It's great.
Marvellous. So you might write another Doctor Who, because I read a thing where you said that you didn't get paid for rewrites. And I thought, this doesn't sound like Neil Gaiman, who said that when he does something for money, he doesn't enjoy it.
No, what I was saying was, I love doing Doctor Who, but you can't do Doctor Who for the money. You have to do Doctor Who. If you're writing Doctor Who, you're writing it for the love.
And if you don't...
And I love it.
There are lots of limitations on Doctor Who, because you have to keep in with the canon, obviously. You can't change Doctor Who, really.
Oh, I don't know. I slipped one line into the Doctor's wife, which indicated that Time Lords can regenerate into different genders, which, with any luck, may wind up eventually doubling the possible casting opportunities for the Doctor somewhere down the line.
I have to say, I'm quite warm into the idea of the female Doctor Who.
Are you?
As long as it's someone who's suitably quirky. I don't mean Sue Pollard. I mean, just an edge of... If you could pick a lady Doctor Who, Neil, who would you go for? So put you on the spot. I'll give you a song to think about it, if you like. Or do you just want to go random?
Well, the trouble with casting any Doctors is really the way you should cast a Doctor is when the new Doctor gets announced, you should go, oh, I've heard of them. Really? And then you should look at a picture in the papers and go, that doesn't really look like the Doctor. How can that be the Doctor? And then you see them in costume a couple of months down the line. You go, well, maybe. And then 6 months into the new Doctor Who, you go, how could I have ever thought that anybody else could be the Doctor but this person? And that's how it ought to work.
Well, Matt Smith, I would say, is the classic example, because I hadn't heard of Matt Smith, and by God, he was glorious.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Neil, you once invited me to a party, and I'm going to apologise now, because I was an hour early. That's how excited I was.
Wow.
We ended up... we went up shopping together.
It was great. I loved it.
That's beyond Lombardi time.
It was actually a party that I over the last week, I've been thinking about a lot, because we were at the Edinburgh Festival, and I know a lot of writers, being a writer, and I also know, just because you can't knock around the world without running into you lot, a lot of comedians and talky people who really like writers, and wound up putting together... It wasn't really a party, it was just a bunch of writers like Ian Rankin and, of course, Ian Banks, and a bunch of people like you and Phil Jupitus. And when Ian... when I heard that Ian Banks was, as he put it, very poorly, I wrote him a letter just saying, I'm really sorry, and you're such a great bloke. And one of the things he wrote back and talked about was how much that evening had meant to him, just how great it was.
Well, I was I'm very grateful to you because obviously when I heard that Ian Banks was going to die, I thought, oh my God, I'm so glad I met Ian Banks. And he was so lovely, which you want people to be when you meet them like that. So I'm very grateful. But yeah, it was also very sad. I feel quite sad thinking about it now, but how brilliant that happened. I'm glad I was an hour early.
Yeah, I'm glad you were an hour early too. We got to hang out longer and you got to have more of Ian Banks. Of course, I remember the thing about that night was because Ian had done that Raw Spirit book where he'd gone out and drunk whiskey in every single distillery in Scotland. I'd gone out and I bought the fanciest bottle of whiskey I could at the fanciest Edinburgh whiskey shop, and I said, look, I've got Ian Banks. And I said, oh, well, what you want, sir, is this bottle here. And I got it for him. And Ian arrives, and I'm like, okay, and I've got the whiskey here, Ian. And he says, oh, since I did that book, he said, I've gone off whiskey. I just want some red wine. And spend the evening drinking red wine, and the rest of us all tried the whiskey.
I didn't.
But you didn't, of course.
If my analyst is listening. So American Gods, which I still think is, please, if you haven't read that novel, read that as well as The Ocean at the End of the Lane. The Ocean at the End of the Lane, I should say, actually, just for administrative purposes, comes out on the 18th of June.
It is. It's out on Tuesday.
I loved it. Emily loved it.
I didn't like it. I loved it. I did a Simon Cowell.
That was
wow.
excellent.
I felt slightly scared on your behalf then when that happened. That was a
And
moment.
who knows what else is lurking in your notebook pocket?
Actually, the next thing that's going to come out in September is absolutely the opposite of Ocean at the End of the Lane, because it's a ridiculously funny, silly book called Fortunately the Milk for Kids, about a dad who goes out to get milk for his kid's cereal and gets kidnapped by aliens and escapes from the aliens and is kidnapped by pirates and then rescued by a time-travelling stegosaurus in a hot air balloon, and then things get weird.
Can I ask, has a publisher ever read your manuscript and said, the thing is, Neil, it's a bit far-fetched? I'll tell you, I spoke to my manager last night, and he was telling me that his son, he's 10, they had a People I Admire day at their school, and they had to go dressed as someone they admired. He wanted to go as his dad, but they put a ban on dads. And he went as Neil Gaiman. This is a 10-year-old.
great.
I bet he didn't know about the secret pocket. But that's absolutely true. He went as Neil Gaiman.
Brilliant.
Obviously, it wasn't a state school. Otherwise, it would have been Wayne Rooney. But nevertheless, what a wonderful thing. I wonder if... So, can I just, before... We're going now, but can I have an absolute guarantee that I will be in the next Doctor Who episode you write?
Absolutely not, Frank.
Oh.
Because obviously I could write you in, and they could shoot it, and then they just cut it out for reasons of time. And you're
This could
The
be
trouble
our...
is, Neil, it's already on Twitter. I've just checked.
No, but this could be our Pat.
Of you sort of inside that Dalek, people would never know, and then we
No.
reveal afterwards.
I'm happy to hide away, or I'm happy for me to be in it as myself, but I could be played by our Pats.
There you go.
No one would even notice.
They wouldn't.
Neil, it's been great having you on, and please go and buy The Ocean at the End of the Lane. I'm not kidding. I'm not saying it because he's here. It's a brilliant book. It'll make your hair stand on end, and it'll make you cry a bit, and you'll get angry with the dad. So, thank you, Neil Gaiman.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Neil's gone.
Neil's gone, we can relax. I still find it quite stressful having a guest. I find it stressful having a guest. I was very excited it was Neil Gaiman. But it's going to have to be another big person for me to do it again.
Arpats, maybe.
I forgot to tell you another thing he said about Doctor Who. He said, Robert said to me, I'll tell you who I met
Robert
once.
said to me.
No, he did.
For God's
He said,
sake.
we were talking about Doctor Who, he said, I'll tell you who I met once. And I said to him, he said, Sylvester McCoy. I
Well.
thought that he was quite... no, but he was seeming quite impressed, and I was surprised
Well,
that
that's
he would be
good.
impressed by Sylvester
Oh,
McCoy.
yeah.
I
Pats is a
had
big
dinner with
McCoy.
Sylvester McCoy. What about that?
Oh,
Did you?
I've topped our Pats at last.
You've topped Arpats.
Yeah. You all right with that?
Frank, there's a story we haven't touched on. It's about Ladies of the Night.
Oh, that's why we haven't touched on it.
Well, we don't like to encourage this kind of behaviour,
No.
any criminal activity
We'll
on this show.
pick our words carefully here.
Should we call her an adult industry worker?
Yes, I don't like the way that... I mean, I'm not going to use the P word, but this
No.
is a woman who... a lady for hire. But I don't like that they call themselves the sexuals workers and stuff like that. I don't like the concept.
Today?
Yeah.
Who calls them the sexuals workers?
Well, they call themselves sex workers, don't they? I've said sex.
They
You've
do,
made me
they
say
do.
sex now. I hope you're happy. We've had to leave it till 10 to 11.
Well,
But I don't want the idea of the concept of work introduced to that, area of... It should be...
don't see it as a
Where's
job
the
of work.
love in it? That's
Trust
what
me.
I'm asking.
Trust me.
Well,
it ain't all
I
plain
think-
sailing.
I think
So
that's
anyway,
what
this
many
is a-
people are asking, where's the love in it?
Yeah, so there's a man in Birmingham. You must have seen
It
the
would be
story
in
this
Birmingham.
week. And one of these... He ordered one of these ladies over the phone. And she turned up... first of all, he said, what do you look like? So she described herself. I would love to have heard that description.
Yeah, me too.
Just the pen picture, as they used to call them, in which and then when she turned up, he felt that basically she talked herself up a bit
Yeah.
and said, no, forget about it. And
I believe what he said was she's misdescribed and misrepresented herself totally.
well, hold on, it was in Solihull. Now Solihull is the posh part.
Go on then, how did they talk there? Exactly.
Misrepresent.
Sounds exactly the same.
Does it? No, if
that is
you're
well
from the
posh,
area,
right.
you'd recognise the slightly posher.
Well, posh,
the
yeah.
posher thing. Comes with the little fingers sticking out.
To the 4 people that's relevant to.
I imagine this happens to these women quite a lot during the light nights. I think they should do winter work or have later hours in the summer.
Yeah. It's
Because-
not forgiving, is it?
And I imagine it's stressful and exhausting work, and often accompanied with all sorts
Stressful.
of all
Can I
sorts
just
of
say,
habits.
you boys are going to have to help me out. I'm a bit Confucius here, because as I understood it, if you call someone in the adult industry...
We've had a
For-
text in saying that love for sale is how his dad refers to...
Oh, I like that.
So that's an easy way of tidying this up, isn't it?
Yes, she was a love for salesperson.
I was given to understand, if you called love for sale,
Yeah.
you weren't that interested in the facial structure, let's say, of the person.
Yeah.
It was more... You could look like a Doberman Pinscher.
Well, then why lie? Why not say, well,
I've got a head like
I'll
a
be
bag
honest.
of spanners.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not the prettiest. I mean, I was in a hotel in Germany.
Oh my God, I hate this anecdote. It
I'm
hasn't
already
even
enjoying this
started.
anecdote.
I'm leaving. I'm actually leaving.
I was there for the World Cup.
It's not. That doesn't make it better.
And I was walking, and it was one of these places where these ladies sit in the windows, and they had international, they had their national flag stuck on the window, so that visitors could choose ones of their. It was like a World Cup wall chart, but with ladies.
Right.
Oh, I quite like that.
So I'm in the hotel. This woman stops me in the corridor of the hotel and said, a man said, well, for me to come here, and then I can't find him. She said, would you like a bit of fun? And I assumed she'd got an Etch-a-Sketch. But it turned out she was one, and I said, it's an odd thing to say, but she said, would you like a bit of fun? And I said, no.
Did you say I didn't come to Germany for a bit of fun?
No. Exactly. And she went, oh. And,
Did you?
Yeah.
Like gutted.
and I spent the rest of my life thinking, maybe it was just free, a sample.
Yeah.
And I said, when you walk past one,
Sample.
you walk past one of those places when they're doing drinking yogurt on a tray in the
Yes.
street, and you go past and you think, oh, I wish I'd had one of those now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of like that. Anyway, this man found the police. He found the police. And
Yeah.
said,
Yeah, I think
what's
that's
the
justified.
act he tried to...
The Sale of Goods Act. He said he wished to report her for breaching
Yeah.
the Sale of Goods Act. Which we all do, don't we? If we
be
buy
fair,
something that we're not satisfied with.
My grandmother, when she was married
Oh,
to the Nigerian chieftain,
Oh, yeah.
he took her to the police station and said, I wish to report my wife for disobedience.
Disobedience.
Yeah, that's what he did, honestly. Frank can't believe it.
I'm
Are you okay?
He... Keep talking amongst
Okay.
It's
yourself.
about the Sale of Goods Act.
Frank can't believe that he's not allowed to report her
I
for
didn't realise that the
disobedience.
bag was still in this tea. I've inhaled it.
Do you think Bob's the poisoner?
I've got a tea bag in my lungs.
Oh,
Is that dangerous?
Frank, Bob's
Sounds like a
just...
song.
Bob's a straightforward murderer. He's not a poisoner.
No. Look, if this man's listening, I'd recommend Most Beautiful Ladies,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where they guarantee we have over 5,000 beautiful women aged 18 to 60.
And also, like, rather than wasting police time phoning 999 about it, just take her back. Take her back to the shop. Not the shop.
The
The shop!
The place. You know what I mean.
I wonder. I would like to see. I bet she was all right. This is a bloke.
All right.
This is one of these blokes who's never happy. I bet he's one of them. I went out with you know, they say Americans are good at complaining. I went out with an American woman who was very, very nice, but my God, she was good at complaining. We were in, I must have told you this, we were in a restaurant once, and she complained about the meal of the woman on the adjoining table.
No.
Because she'd heard this woman say that there was something wrong with the meal, but she didn't want to cause a fuss. So she complained on her behalf.
Wow.
So that is related. Okay, so thank you so much for listening this morning. If you're in London, by the way, I'll be in Trafalgar Square tomorrow at the big art show, the first portrait show. Loads of different art
He's
stuff
on the
happening.
plinth.
No, it's really interesting. Come along. There's
Actually, I'm on the plinth. There's a cockerel on there.
I haven't been on the plinth since I went to that royal party at Chris Eubank's house. So, if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now, get out.
This is
Frank Skinner